Good evening. I figured if I started with a nice loud good evening, it'd be a clear hint that we were going to get started. Welcome everyone. First and foremost, welcome to all of our friends and family here tonight, and also watching online. We are so very excited to have you all here and to celebrate this wonderful class. And we are especially excited to be able to do this right here in person, right here on our campus with all of you tonight. So let me do a couple introductions here before we get going. First of all, I am Phil Hall. I served as principal at Fairhaven Union High School this year, and I will be your master of ceremonies tonight. My stage crew behind me, we have Board Chair Tim Smith, Superintendent Brooke Olson-Farrell, Assistant Principal Kate Leith, and our graduation speaker tonight, Mr. Mike Bruce. Let's welcome them. And seated to my left, your right, we have our Slate Valley School Board and Mr. Casey O'Meara, our Director of Curriculum. And to my right, your left, we have our esteemed FHU faculty and staff. And finally, and certainly most importantly, all around me and all in front of you folks, we have class of 2021 Fairhaven. That was some pretty good energy, folks. Keep it right there. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Mike Bruce.
It's good to be home. Thank you all. Before I begin, I would like to just acknowledge my family who's here with me, who could be here tonight. I wouldn't have made it through this last year without them. My wife Dawn, my son Jeff, my daughter Christian, my daughter-in-law Carolyn, and my little grandson Gabriel. Mother and stepfather are outside. I hope it's not raining anymore. So before I begin, I would like to inform you that this speech is being brought to you by Oklahoma lecterns. I use their lecterns in my professional life, and I give them my personal endorsement because they're a product I can really stand behind. This thing on? That's what we in the education business call an icebreaker. But seriously, good evening, friends, neighbors, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, colleagues, and most of all, the reason we're all here tonight, the soon-to-be graduates of the Fairhaven Union High School class of 2021. When I got the call from Jackie a few weeks back telling me that the class of 2021 wanted to know if I would deliver this address, I quickly realized that I couldn't say no. So first and foremost, I would like to thank the class of 2021 for giving me the opportunity to participate in this school year in some way, and a chance to thank the community for all of their love and support over this past year. You know who you are. I am so very blessed to be healthy enough to stand before all of you tonight and address the graduates and their families. So very blessed. As most of you know, I missed the opportunity to teach these amazing students this year. Some of you I've had the pleasure of having in class, and some of you I regrettably never got the chance to. But whether you know it or not, I follow all of your endeavors and accomplishments as much as I can, and love cheering for you to succeed, both in and out of the classroom. Whether it be in academics, on the stage, on the athletic field or court, on the racetrack, in the arena, or what have you. The class of 2021 is composed of some of the most talented individuals I have ever seen come through the doors in my 20 years of teaching at FHUHS. You should all be very proud of yourselves and what you've accomplished thus far in life. But we all know that you all have so much more ahead of you. I, for one, am excited to see how you will use your numerous talents to try to make this world a better place. I'm so blessed to be able to come back next year and continue my teaching career, to have a second act, if you will. But I will forever regret that I had to miss this wonderful group of students senior year. I've never taken this job for granted. I know that I am blessed to hold the position that I do in this community, and it's a privilege to be able to teach the eager young minds of Slater Nation year after year. Being able to teach the children of people I went to school with is a gift as well. It also helps motivate students to do their best when they know that Mr. Bruce knows their parents. Oftentimes, all I have to say is, how's your dad doing? I haven't talked to him in a while. Maybe I should give him a call tonight. I missed teaching terribly over this past year, so I'd like to thank you again for asking me to deliver this address at your commencement, as it gives me the chance to stand before you and engage you in a lesson one last time before you graduate. As some of you may know, my teaching style is often described by students and colleagues alike as delightfully old school. Okay, that's my description. That's how I describe it. The Socratic method is what I enjoy, the give and take of group discussion, that makes every individual think deeply and examine themselves and their values and beliefs. Introspection, your place in this crazy thing we call life. I have many of my favorite quotes printed out and hanging around my classroom. One of them is a quote from Socrates. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. I hope I make you think tonight. So as I thought about what I would say tonight, I knew that my speech would have to be interactive on some level. So pay attention. There will be questions. And you don't want to get caught sleeping. My address will also be sprinkled with pop culture references and thought-provoking quotes, song lyrics, maybe even a few jokes, because that's how I teach. Now, if you'll permit me, the sociologist in me would like to gather a little informal data to prove a point. So, how many former Slaters do we have in the audience tonight? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, how many future Slaters do we have? Future Slaters. Future Slaters, pay attention to traditions tonight. This will be you up here someday. All of the great traditions of Slater Nation, the social aspects of life here, academics, arts, sports, all of it, will pass through your hands as they have passed through the hands of our friends and relatives in the generations before us. How many of my colleagues are former Slaters? Awesome. What does that tell you? Tell you what that tells you. It's a bit of a tongue twister, a little tautology there. Anyway, it tells me that this is a special place. A very special place full of very special people. And it has been for a long, long time. It's a place people want to be a part of. A place people come back to generation after generation. The people change, but the traditions do not, as long as all of us make sure that they live on. Personally speaking, this has been a very special place for me. My second home. If you count my years as a student here and my years teaching here, I have spent half of my life in this building and on these grounds. Like I said at the beginning, it's good to be home. This has been the setting of so many good events and memories of my life, the most important of which was meeting the love of my life, the girl I would eventually marry, Dawn Rivers Bruce. I love you, baby. And I couldn't have survived this past year without you. Without her, there would be no me. Why? Because as Adam Horowitz so poetically put it, she's the cheese and I'm the macaroni. So what do you need to know about me? Believe me, the last thing I want to do is make this speech all about me. But for those of you who don't know me well, a little background knowledge is necessary. After all, history is always important. I know, not surprising coming from the history teacher. So the first thing you should know is that I bleed Slater blue. My father was a Slater before me, my mother was a Slater, my sister was a Slater, all of my cousins were Slaters, my wife was a Slater, and both of my kids were Slaters. When I was a student here over 30 years ago, in the 80s, no old man jokes now, the 1980s, not the 1880s. Anyway, this place has a long tradition of former students returning as teachers. When I was in high school here, back in the day, I thought it was so cool that many of my teachers were former Slaters themselves. I could go home and look back at their high school years in my parents' yearbooks. I remember when the thought first entered my mind late in my senior year, a few weeks before my own graduation. It was a crystal clear and rather urgent thought, and that thought was, I don't want to leave this place. That was when I first entertained the idea that maybe I should become a teacher and follow that rich tradition of former Slaters giving back to their school and community. Of course, 17-year-old me didn't realize how long the odds were of becoming licensed to teach and having an opening in a specific small high school with a small social studies department open up at exactly the right moment in time, and then actually being the candidate that the search committee would choose over many other applicants. But that's exactly what happened. Why? Because I had faith that it would. I believe it was meant to be. Faith over fear is a great way to live your life. You can all become whatever you want if you set your mind to it. Sound cliche? Yep, it does. And it is. But that doesn't make it untrue. Are there odds stacked against you? Sure. Is it going to be hard work? Absolutely. But I'm here to tell you that it will be worth it in the end if you put your faith in yourself and your future ahead of your fears and doubts. Fast forward nearly 2 decades, and I was happily cruising through my teaching career at FHUHS. Maybe a little too fast. Where has the time gone? I had 19 years of teaching under my belt and was preparing to enter my 20th year of teaching here at my good old alma mater. But little did I know, I was about to be dealt a major blow. 10 months ago, if you told me I would be standing here tonight delivering a commencement address, I wouldn't have believed you. I had been feeling ill for some time, and last August, a few weeks before school was set to begin, I was given a gut punch of a diagnosis. I had cancer, and it was advanced cancer. It had spread from its origin site, and I had a large mass in my abdomen. Throughout the many surgeries and procedures and the chemotherapy and other treatments I had to undergo, what kept me going? Faith, trust, inner strength, and the amazing support I received from all of the individuals with whom I have established and fostered relationships throughout my life. And I'm happy to stand here tonight and tell you that on my wife's birthday, a few months back, my doctors declared me cancer-free. But let's rewind a little bit here. I didn't always want to be a teacher or even have an inkling that I would become one. It was a long and winding road to my eventual career path. How many of you know what you want to do in life right now? Awesome. For those of you who do, great. For those of you who don't worry. You will find your way. Finding your path in life is often difficult. I found it hard. It's hard to find. Oh well, whatever, never mind. What song? Yes, fellow Gen Xer. Kurt Cobain, the voice of Gen X. Smells like Teen Spirit, Nirvana. Anyway, what I'm saying is you don't always have to know for sure at a young age what you want to be when you grow up. Sometimes plan B, or C, or D, or even E turns out to be amazing. People are always telling you at this stage in your life to look to your future, which obviously you must do. But I'm here to tell you to look to your past, or at least not to forget your past. I know, once again, not unexpected advice coming from the history teacher, right? This can be a confusing time. It can be a time of sadness as you move on from what you've always known. It can be scary to leave home to make it on your own. It can be an anxious time as you prepare to enter the workforce, go to trade school, start an apprenticeship, join the military, or head off to college. But it doesn't have to be. You're not subtracting anything you've already experienced or accomplished here. You're just adding to it. And we'll still be here if you need us. You all know the saying, and it's true. Say it with me. Once a Slater, always a Slater. That's right. Does anybody know what I wanted to be when I was younger, or the many things I changed my mind to before finding my calling in teaching? I know I've mentioned this many times in my classes. I'm just seeing who was paying attention. Don't be afraid to shout it out if you know the answers. No? Okay. Duly noted. We'll start way back in junior high. When I was in 8th grade, the 7th graders would write prophecies for all the 8th graders for graduation. I don't know if they did this at your schools or if they still do it at Orwell Village, where I graduated from. You know, in 20 years, so-and-so will be ... Do you know what my 8th grade graduation prophecy was? It was, in 20 years, Mike Bruce will be a successful stand-up comedian. I'm not making it up. That's what it really was. I still have the program. And I guess in some ways that prophecy did come true. After all, a successful teacher has to be a scholar, a parent, a mentor, a coach, a friend, a therapist, and in my opinion, a comedian or entertainer. It's a tightrope to walk standing in front of an audience of teenagers every day, competing for their attention with smartphones and social media and a complex mixture of hormones and relationships on their minds. Due to my audience, I'm known mostly for what people now refer to as dad jokes. You know, corny, cliche stuff like the icebreaker I used when I first came up here. Last year, during the early months of the lockdown when we were fully remote, I would post a dad joke of the day along with my lessons on Google Classroom to try to lift the spirits of my students. So any speech by me wouldn't be complete without a dad joke or two. For example, here's another one, and it's topical too. Why didn't the skeleton climb the mountain? Because he didn't have the guts. Well, I'm here tonight encouraging you to have the guts. Climb that mountain. Pursue your dreams. Let faith triumph over fear. Your dreams will remain just that, dreams, unless you have the faith and strength to act on them. Pursue them. Keep the faith. Have you heard that song? Do you guys know who Billy Joel is? No asking your parents here. Have you heard his song, Keeping the Faith? One of the lyrics I love in that song is when he says, "The good old days weren't always good, and tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems." Your best days are still ahead of you. You have been prepared to go boldly forth from Slater Nation into the wide world. It may seem like a daunting task, and there may be some anxiety and fear associated with it, but you have all the tools and talents and strengths and virtues you need to succeed. So keep the faith. When I was your age and started thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, I changed my mind many times and went through many phases. For several years, me and one of my best buddies had a pact that we were going to become state troopers. Many people were telling me to go to college, but I had always had a love of motorsports and anything motorized, and by my senior year, I had decided that I wouldn't be going to college, but rather to a trade school to learn the art of auto body and paint. But life intervened, and I went down a different path. I won't bore you with the details, but by the time I decided to go back to college, 5 years had passed since I had graduated high school, and I was married and had a 2-year-old son. And once I was in college, I changed my major several times. At one point, I was a criminal justice major planning to be a lawyer, and then a psychology major planning to be a counselor, before finally settling on a double major in history and sociology. And even then, I planned to be a professor teaching in higher education. But my true calling in life was eventually revealed to me, and it brought me back home to good old FHUHS. So what can we learn from my story? What does it all mean? I survived cancer. So what? And let me be clear, I'm not the only one who went through some trials in 2020 and 2021. We've all been tested. So what can we learn from it all? What does it all mean in the end? Well, as you might have surmised, I have some opinions on that topic. So if you would be so kind, please permit me to list the advice that I would like to offer all of you this evening. I narrowed it down to a list of 8. It may seem like a random list, some of them may sound cliche, but I'm going to explain why they're important, and I promise you they'll all tie in and make sense in the end. So here we go, Bruce's 8 pieces of advice for the class of 2021. Number 1, be courageous. Each and every one of you should strive boldly forth into your future with courage and conviction. But that's not to say that you won't experience fear and anxiety. Courage isn't the absence of fear. As John Wayne said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that there won't be challenges. As you go out to make your way in this world, you will encounter obstacles. You will be tested. You'll experience difficult times. You may even consider quitting, giving up on your dreams. Oftentimes in all of our lives, that voice of doubt creeps in. But don't let doubt win. You'll ask yourselves a lot of questions along the way, as I did while I faced my battle with cancer. Am I strong enough? Yes, you are. Am I brave enough? Yes, you are. Am I smart enough? Yes, you are. The answer to all of these questions of nagging doubt is yes. You can do all things if you choose faith over fear. Run the marathon to the very last mile. Be a fighter. Never give up. Damn the odds. After all, you're a Slater. And like the rock that is our namesake, you are strong and durable. You have been shaped and formed by the heat and pressure of life and the battles you have fought. Your many experiences here in the beautiful Slate Valley of Vermont have formed you into who you are today, like the layers of clay and shale that form the slate found so abundantly in the soil of this area in which we live. As Calvin Coolidge said, I love Vermont because of her hills and valleys, her scenery and invigorating climate, but most of all because of her indomitable people. We are indomitable. You have an indomitable spirit. Do you know what that means? It means impossible to subdue or defeat. Impossible. Live up to that legacy. Number 2, cherish the relationships in your life. I've had many months to contemplate life and what it's all about, and I've come to the conclusion that the most valuable thing in life is relationships. The most valuable thing I have received from all my years of teaching is certainly all of the relationships and bonds that I have created. I've always tried to connect with students on some level, and I make an effort to keep up with former students and know what they are doing after they graduate from FHU. And those efforts surely paid dividends during my time of need. I had so many former students reach out to me and send me encouraging messages and gifts, and it really helped me win this fight. Thanks to them, I knew I had to and would teach again. Once again, you know who you are. I urge you to continue to nurture the relationships you have formed thus far in your life after you leave high school. It's become cliche that people grow apart. People always try to rationalize it by saying, after all, who has time with a job and family and responsibilities? My advice is this: make the time. Set your priorities. Make time for the important people in your life. Nurture those relationships, or they will wither on the vine. Feed them. You may need them. I'm a poet and don't know it. Should trademark that one. Humans were not designed to live alone. We are social beings. We need others in our lives. I think we all became keenly aware of this fact over this last year of social distancing and isolation. I know that I've become keenly aware of my weaknesses over the past year. You are never alone, even if you feel like you are. It's okay to accept help or even ask for it. I was never one to do that. I've always tended to be a loner, a rebel. But I've learned over this past year that you can't always do everything alone, and you shouldn't. You will need others to help you achieve your goals. So make good decisions and surround yourself with good people. Your inner circle doesn't have to be big, but it has to be loyal. You find out who your friends are when you go through trying times, as I found out over this past year, and I found out that I am incredibly blessed when it comes to having loyal and loving friends, family members, colleagues, former and current students, and neighbors. Tell people what they mean to you, today and every day. I couldn't have made it without my family. I couldn't have made it without my friends. So thank you again for all who reached out to me in some way. It meant more to me than you'll ever know. I sincerely love and appreciate you all. Number 3, never stop learning. You have learned what you need to know to graduate from high school tonight and take your first steps into the next stage of your lives. But there is so much more to learn. So please keep a curious and open mind. Be an independent thinker, which is so important in this age of media spin. Do your own research and don't believe everything you read or hear. As Edgar Allan Poe once wrote, believe nothing you hear and only one half that you see. Without verifying it, that is. As a lifelong learner, you will probably discover, as I have, that learning leads to more questions, which causes you to seek more learning. One of my favorite singer-songwriters, Don Henley, said it best when he said, "The more I know, the less I understand." Another one of the quotes that hangs on my classroom wall. Please tell me you know who Don Henley is. He was the drummer and lead vocalist on many of the biggest hits by a little band called the Eagles. If you don't know him and his body of work, then that's your final piece of high school homework. Look him up. You won't regret it. Number 4, have faith in yourself and your beliefs, values, and convictions. Since I was a young lad, I have always found meaning in song lyrics. So, yep. You guessed it, I'm about to hit you with another lyrical phrase. This one hangs on the door sign next to my classroom. It's from Steve Miller, from his song, Jungle Love. In that song, Steve says, the question to everyone's answer is usually asked from within. Do you get that? My answer differs from yours because my question is different than yours. We all ask different inner questions. those silent questions we all ask within the confines of our own minds, and therefore we all end up with different answers that are manifested in the story of our lives. One of my answers was teaching. What will yours be? Take the time to think deeply about the important issues and questions in life. Clarify your beliefs, values, and convictions, and build your life around them. Only when you have read widely and thought deeply about these things can you live your life by them and explain and defend them to others. If you're really good, you might even possess the ability to convince others to adopt your wisdom. Number 5, be proud of who you are and where you come from. Be proud of your history and your family's history. Or if there's certain aspects of it you don't like, make your mind up to be the one to change it. But while you're out there conquering the world, don't forget about this little corner of the world, the one that was the setting for your formative years, the one where you developed and nurtured all of these relationships. Don't forget the wonderful little communities that send their precious children to this wonderful little institution of learning, what we affectionately refer to as Slater Nation. As a Slater myself, I am proud to be associated with each and every one of you, and I hope you feel the same way about your fellow Slaters. Number 6, do what you love. Find your niche. Find a way to do what you are passionate about. If you do, you will touch and change the lives of others in a positive way. Leave this world better than you found it. Find a way to inspire others. Life isn't about accumulating material things. As Randy Travis said in the song 3 Wooden Crosses, it's not what you take when you leave this world behind you. It's what you leave behind you when you go. Leave behind a legacy you can be proud of. Be loyal and true. Have loyalty not just to the others in your life, but have loyalty to yourself and your dreams. It's not all about the money. There are more valuable rewards. Do what you love, pursue your dreams, and if you follow your passions, the money will take care of itself. Number 7, count your blessings. Be thankful for all you have and all you've been given. This is a public school speech, so I won't go into detail on my religious beliefs and how I wouldn't have survived my ordeal without them. But I would be remiss if I didn't still mention how important religion is to me and how integral it has been to all of my successes and triumphs in life. We all have a lot to be thankful for, and it's always good to step back and assess your blessings in life instead of taking them for granted as a lot of us tend to do. And finally, number 8, laugh often. And be willing and able to laugh at yourself. I've always loved self-deprecating humor. If someone tells me I'm funny, I say, yeah, I'm funny, but looks aren't everything. I've already touched on my love of laughter and especially my love of making others laugh, so I won't spend long on this one. Many psychological studies have confirmed the medical and health benefits of laughter, lending credence to the old adage, laughter is the best medicine. A recent trend, laughter yoga, was initially developed in India. Have you seen this? Laughter yoga? You should look it up. Basically, you simulate laughing as part of your yoga routine. According to the Psychiatric Times, studies have shown that laughter yoga can lead to significant improvements in positive emotions and reductions in stress and anxiety, as well as improved quality of sleep. Not to mention providing all of us with some pretty hilarious viral videos. So to sum it up, live, love, laugh, and learn. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to each and every member of the FHUHS class of 2021 and their families. While you're out there in this crazy world pursuing your dreams and putting faith above fear, don't forget about your little hometowns and your little Union High School and all the relationships that you formed here. And speaking for myself, never forget that you have a big fan back here at good old FHUHS cheering you on. And if you ever need anything, say some sage advice, a recommendation letter, or reference for a school or job, or anything at all, or even if you just need a good dad joke to lift your spirits, or someone to explain to you yet again why the Yankees are the greatest professional sports franchise to ever exist. No tomato? You know where to find me, because you know where I'll be. I'll be here, where I belong, at my second home, doing what I love to do for as long as the good Lord allows me to. Thank you all, and good evening.
Research says that in education, one of the most important things we can do is to give immediate feedback. Great choice, class of 2021. And Mr. Bruce, I think you nailed it. Well done. All right, the University of Vermont Green and Gold Scholarship is awarded to the Fairhaven Union High School student who has attained the school's highest academic distinction at the end of the class's junior year. I present to you the Fairhaven Union High School class of 2021 Green and Gold Scholarship recipient, Miss Isabella Carabino.
Thank you, Principal Hall. Those that know me know that I'm not one for public speaking. If I'm being totally honest, it's taking all the strength in me not to run off of this stage. But we persevere. Welcome, Superintendent Olson Farrell, Principal Hall, teachers, staff, friends, family, and fellow graduates to the graduation of the class of 2021. I think I speak for everyone when I say, finally. Our class joked about how it seemed the odds were pitted against us from the start. But despite all that we've been through and all the challenges that we've overcome, we are here today, ready to take on whatever the world will throw at us. Maybe an alien invasion. I wouldn't be surprised. As I stand here before you, I recall one particular lesson from an English class in middle school, where we were asked to analyze the popular poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. As we completed the activity, I remember being enthralled by Frost's message about how he, quote, took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This should resonate with everyone here, especially with my fellow graduates. It is easy for us today, more than ever, to conform with the rest of society. We sit behind screens, following trends, liking what others like despite our own opinions. We all choose to walk down the same path because we are afraid of being judged, of being vulnerable, of being different. I know, speaking from experience, that I myself have done things just to go with the crowd and not be an outlier. But now I look back at those times and laugh. What was I afraid of? I should have realized that my worth isn't defined by others. It is not determined by what trends I participate in or what clothes I wear. Choosing to walk down your path means doing what you love, even if you're the only one doing it. It's reading your favorite book or taking a walk just to see the sunset. It's spending more time with your friends and enjoying a creamy. If these past 4 years have taught us anything, other than what movie Mr. Wilson is quoting in class, like, it should be that being yourself and doing what makes you happy is the most important thing. As long as you stay true to who you are, you will be able to accomplish all that you put your mind to. The future is yours to create. If there isn't a clear path, don't be afraid to make your own, because sometimes the best experiences are made unexpectedly. I would now like to take the time to thank my parents for encouraging me in all I do, my siblings for always offering comedic relief, my friends for being there through thick and thin, all teachers and staff for the work they continue to do, and I would like to offer my sincere gratitude to all the healthcare and frontline workers, this year more than ever, because we wouldn't be able to gather like this if it weren't for their bravery and the sacrifices they made to help others navigate through this pandemic. I'll never forget the memories I have made at FHU, from championship games to dances and everything in between. Although I am sad to leave, I'm also ready to see what the future has in store for all of us. I know that all of you will accomplish your dreams, whatever they may be. If you are faced with bad days, know that you are strong enough to get through them. The rain is only temporary. As long as you have the courage to keep moving forward, your path will lead you to greatness. I hope one day our paths will cross again, but if not, may your lives be filled with nothing but happiness and success. Thank you.
Great job, Bella. See, nothing to be nervous about at all. If I can do it, man, I think we're all okay. Anyway, it is my distinct honor to introduce our senior class advisors, Miss Kristen Partisi and Dr. Eddie Wilkin.
Before we introduce the class president, we would like to take a quick moment to recognize the resilience of this class as a whole in all that they've persevered through. We want to thank the class for their involvement over the years and wish each of them much success in whatever path they choose.
To part, Ms. Partisi and I would like to share a quote that we live by each day. And I'd like to take a note. None of the speakers have talked, but there seems to be a strong connection tonight. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Long-range hug to all of you, and please be safe out there. At this time, we would like to introduce Donnie Andronico, the senior class president. Donnie has helped. Donnie has been a great help over the years with various events, and his creativity, ideas, and talents have been very much appreciated, especially in helping our class win the hallway decoration every single year. We can't wait to see the next chapter of your life and where it takes you. Here's Donnie.
Good evening, parents, faculty, and any strangers that have wandered over from Maple Fields. Before I get started, I'd just like to thank you all for coming out and supporting our class on this special night. Personally, I never thought we were going to make it this far. It was looking pretty grim for a while, but we managed to pull through. I know this is an emotional night for many of you, so I'm going to try my very hardest to share some humor and hopefully keep you all entertained. As Ms. Partisi just said, I'm currently the president of our senior class. That's always made me laugh, because I represent a class of try-hard academics and superstar athletes. That's ironic because I'm neither one of those two things. There's always been a bit of a gray area in our class. That's typically where I operate. It's nothing short of a miracle that I've been elected to lead this group twice now. When I was first mapping out my plans for this speech, I had no idea where I was going to go. I couldn't piece it together. I was struggling to find those special words. I lacked that special voice. I didn't feel like I was cut out to write the traditional graduation speech. But then I got thinking about that word, tradition. A word you'll hear in this high school just about, 700 times a day. Tradition matters. We have to do it. It's tradition. Tradition, tradition, tradition. When I look back on these past 4 years, I can't help but think, wow, that wasn't very traditional. That was complete chaos. We had no control of that situation at all. I started to think about all the catastrophes we've been through, all the tragedies. A new grading system, PLPs, a global pandemic, that thing that happened freshman year we're not supposed to joke about, and the Valley Commons project. That was probably the worst one. It's always seemed as though this class has been forced to adapt. We've had to change our plans and commit to something different time and time again. So, in the spirit of breaking tradition, I've decided to ignore the whole touchy-feely, emotional, look at how far we've come and accomplished graduation speech, and instead devote my time to something a little more lighthearted and fun, something I hope you all enjoy. During my sophomore year of high school, I started writing about my days and experiences in a journal. And in this journal is basically every laughable thing that's happened to us over these past few years. Everything from the day the fire marshal randomly tore down our hallway decorations to the day COVID struck America and our school shut down. That was probably Zoe's favorite day of high school. Another big part of this journal is quotes. Quotes said by none other than your class of 2021. I thought it'd be fun if, as the class president and the keeper of this journal, if I shared some of these memorable lines with you. Before I get started, just know, if you've said it, chances are it's in this book. Never try to be a straight A student, Donnie. It's just a waste of time. Actually, don't even try to get B's. Be like me. Strive to be a C average student. A's work really hard, while C's just get to breeze. Nathan Stone. Dude, it'd be so amazing if my dad became principal. Imagine that. If my dad was the principal, that'd technically make me the prince. Sam Worthing. Guys, you're being too picky. What do you mean I can't eat Funyuns for breakfast? Funyuns are healthy. They have onion in them. Elias Eaton. Donnie, don't give me advice on styling my hair. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't even have a hairstyle. You just have hair on your head. You look like a wet mop. Tony Lipka. Do you guys remember the track bubble? Oh my God, that was so hilarious. Megan Ezzo. Some of these are inside jokes none of you will understand, just to let you know. You know, that story really wasn't funny. I shouldn't have bothered telling you all that. It wasn't worth it. Evan Reed. Hey, Schwain Dog, when's our next bio test? By the way, I'm done calling you Mr. Schwainer. I'm only going to refer to you as Schwain Dog from here on out. What's up, Schwain Dog? Thomas Arthur. Donnie, are you wearing blue jeans and a jean jacket? You don't wear jean on jean. It looks disgusting. You look like an idiot right now. Emma Briggs. I'm fine. I don't have a concussion. I'm fine. My head does kind of hurt, though. John Lowell. Ugh, ew. Why does it smell like freshman boy in here? Courtney Brewster. Why wouldn't you want to run the 4x8, Donnie? It's the best track event by far. There's a reason it's the first event of the day and no one watches or cares about it. Nate Canal. Why do you keep saying I'm from Alabama? I've literally never lived in Alabama. I'm from Illinois. I've told you guys that 100 times. Aiden Spears. Donnie was funny freshman year, but this year, he's just not. Riley Colludi. Don't laugh, hypocrite, don't laugh. Oh my God, Nathan's offsides again. Nathan, you're offsides. Tessa Barber. Wait, I was in the Rutland Herald again today? Johnny Bruno. Oh, okay. Martina Fernandez Garcia. Oh, Mr. Bruce, I had the most amazing dream the other night. I dreamt I was flying. Well, I was wearing shoes. Does that still count? Emma Ezzo. That's probably a good one to end on. I started writing in this journal my second year of high school, just as a fun way of recapping each day and remembering all the good moments. But what I didn't know then is that this silly little book would become one of the most important things in my life. Something I turned to when I was having a bad day or desperately needed a good laugh. No matter the circumstances, if I needed this book, it was there for me. I don't say this much, but that's the same feeling I get when I think about all of you. We've always been there for each other, through good times and bad times. I know these past 4 years haven't been perfect, but I have to admit, I'd still call them the greatest 4 years of my life. And I say that not because I've enjoyed the chaos. I have. I say this because I've gotten to spend this time with the greatest high school class that will ever step foot on this campus. These have been the best 4 years of my life because never again in my life will I meet a more proud, distinguished, hysterical, talented, and exceptional group of individuals. Graduating class of 2021, I really love you guys, and I'm gonna miss you more than anything, and from the bottom of my heart, it's been an honor to serve you as a president, as a classmate, and as a friend. I have one more thing to say. While I'm up here, I just wanted to take some time to thank two extremely awesome individuals that have had a significant impact on our past 4 years. Over these years, these two have been supportive, outgoing, and kind. When they laugh together about inside jokes, they'll casually turn to you and say, "It's a Jersey thing, you wouldn't understand it." They have positive attitudes that light up our school, and they love making Google surveys even more than they love Italian food. Of course, I'm talking about our two class advisors, Dr. Wilkin and Miss Partisi. As an artist, I was always amazed by how Miss Partisi would encourage her students to be themselves and create pieces of art that they were passionate about. She's been deeply invested in our class inside and outside of school, and she's the only reason we've managed to win Slaterbration 4 years in a row. Dr. Eddie, my favorite thing about you is how brutally honest you are. You don't sugarcoat things, you tell it like it is, and you're the only person in this school that I believe has a sense of humor that's more cynical than mine. I hope you know how much we appreciate you, and I hope you miss us as much as we're going to miss you. Since this is our last time together, I want you to know there aren't two other people on this earth that we'd rather hang up streamers with. Please come up here. Okay, I've been up here for a while. I'm sure everyone's getting sick of listening to my voice, and I bet the people watching outside on the Jumbotron are sick of looking at my stupid giant head. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Evan Reed, our vice president, and he's going to present the class gift and hopefully not stand up here and tell 30 jokes in a row.
Oh, sick. Okay. There is a speech. Just kidding.
We got you, Evan.
Yeah. The senior class would like to present the following gifts to Fairhaven Union High School. A plaque to be mounted below the flagpole in front of the high school with the following words. Dedicated to the valiant men and women of the United States Military Services that have graduated from Fairhaven Union High School, past, present, and future. Gifted by the class of 2021 on June 18th, 2021. Also, as the seniors, we know how difficult fundraising has been because of the various reasons. Therefore, the following monetary amounts will be gifted to the classes below. The class of 2022, the class of 2023, and the class of 2024 will all get $1,000. Thank you very much for our time here at FHUHS, and we wish nothing but success for Fairhaven Union High School and its students. Thank you.
Great job, gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you arrived here tonight I'm going to invite Mrs. Leith, Superintendent Olson Farrell, and Board Chair Smith up to the front of the stage to join me in the presentation of Jim Gomez. Coming up, y'all. Ready? We're on. All right, which row? First row. I'm gonna have you right here.
Harley Morgan Adams. Donovan Andronico. Thomas Arthur. Colby R. Baldwin. Tessa M. Barber. Samantha Marie Barker. Dylan J. Blackmer.
Holy crap, it's real!
Haley A. Bourne. Courtney Brewster. Emma Rose Briggs. Abigail Brown. John Michael Bruno. Kaylee G. Bunker. Tyler Andrew Burke. Tabitha Butler. Gabriel Owen Buxton. Isabella Page Carabino. Chance Anthony Clark. Zoe Elizabeth Cole. Riley A. Kaludi.
There we go.
Dylan Timothy Ryan Colte, received by Libby Correa. Shaden T. Coombs. Isabel G. Corsell. Owen Hunter Doran. Jasmine Marie Dunleavy. Elias D. Eaton. Zachary Ellis. Emma Ezzo. Megan Ezzo. Willem Finnegan. Angela Fitzgerald. Annalise Fontaine. Nicholas Fowler. Daniel Morgan Gay. Dylan Green, received by Tabitha Sheldrick. Kirsten A. Grossbeck. Belle Ann Kasuba. Autumn Kelly. Allison M. Lanthier. Anton Lipka. Keegan S. Little. Owen Lawhan. John Andrew Lowell. Brennan Andrew Lucier. Abigail G. Melvin. Russell James Merwin, Jr. Damon Ronald Morse. Ryan J. Moratori. Colby Murray. Olasia Marie Nadeau. Brian G. Norton. Luke M. Nussbaum. William R. Ouimet. Brittany A. Perry. Nathaniel William Pigeon. Devin J. Piper. Nathaniel James Cannell.
And then there was one. Rates. And the only thing to look out for is wording, right? We don't have anything else weird? Because it was a no from St. Peter.
And Stone.
And Stone. 2 no's. Beauty? Just Ben at the end?
Courtney Alice Rates. Sebastian Redondo. Evan Ray Reed. Caden R. Reed. Emily Robideau. Andrew Rockwell. Emily Rutherford. Levi Matthew Ryan. Matthew Sorrow. Sierra E. Smith. Aiden Spears. Jonathan R. St. Peter. Cheyenne Louise Steves. Kayla Stoliker. Nathan M. Stone.
Nice job, Mr. Seabreeze.
Caitlin Marie Tanner. Alyssa Thompson. Kylie Trask. Abigail Leslie Wetmore. Samuel Walter Worthing.
Thank you, guys. First of all, thank you, Mrs. Lee. Great job. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Fairhaven Union High School Class 2021. Here you go, guys. It's your turn. Go, go.